Big Questions with the Dead Milkmen.
The following program contains language that some viewers may find objectionable. So yeah, some of you assholes are probably gonna watch some other shit. So there you go. All right. So welcome to Big Questions with the Dead Milkmen. I'm Thaddeus Goodpretzel, Pilgrim, historic reenactor. This is going nowhere already. Anyway, occasionally someone wakes up in the morning with a career in music. Then by the time they go to bed that night, they no longer have a career in music. This is usually the result of a terrible live performance, mostly done on Saturday Night Live. So this brings us to this week's big question. And this week's big question is, which live musical performance was so bad? How bad was it? Was so bad that it, for all intents and purposes, ended the career of the performer or performers. And because we pointed out in a previous episode, it's nearly impossible for someone to lose their career in music. It's like, dude, I can't believe they're canceling Gary Glitter. What did he do that was so wrong? Anyway, I've amended the question to include live shows that should have ended careers but didn't. I hope you people can follow that. That's the way we talked in Salem. All right, so I'm going with, my choice is Wyclef Jean at Woodstock 99. And I should point out that up until the attack on the World Trade Center, this was generally considered the biggest disaster to happen in New York State. It is really, really bad. Let me explain how this begins, all right? It begins with Wyclef Jean's little brother and little sister. That's how they're introduced. They don't have names. They just have designations. And then they come out and they begin to engage in improvisational jazz. So like the brother is like playing the keyboards and the sister is just, and the, he's like, put your wallet under her tongue. She's having an episode. And then there's like a DJ, but his records keep skipping, and then there's a drummer and a bass player, and it's not good. And they keep saying it's hip hop. They're like a little hip hop for the and the audience is like 20 something white people in 1999, so they wouldn't know hip hop. They can guess. They're like a little hip hop for you, but no, it's jazz, and jazz just kills all fun. You shouldn't play jazz at a jazz festival, people. So it's bad, and it goes on for 11 minutes. 11 minutes of this, and Wyclef Jean's set is only 36 minutes long. So eventually, after 11 minutes of this, Wyclef Jean comes out, and you go, well, you think it can't be worse than what we just saw. Oh no, it can be. Wyclef comes out and he just starts making shit up. He just starts improvising. He's like, yeah, all right. And he does a couple of backflips. He might as well juggle and make some sea monkeys, because we're in for a long, hard ride, folks. And then it's not terrible at this point. I mean, I know we're only a few minutes into his part of the set. It's not terrible. It's not as embarrassing as what we just saw, but you know, it's got every hip hop cliche that you could possibly want. It's like, are you in the house? Make some noise. Wave your hands in the air like you just don't care. Mr. Wyclef, sir, I don't care. I don't care for your set at all. So I'm gonna have to read a lot right off my notes, because I wrote down everything as it happened. And folks, we'll put up a link to the Wyclef Jean live at Woodstock 99 set. Watch it if you dare. And if I'm lying, I'm dying. I'm cutting some shit out of this. So 15 minutes in, he starts to play guitar. Wyclef Jean starts to play guitar, and he demands that the audience make some noise for Jimi Hendrix. Okay, and then he starts playing, in order to honor Woodstock the way it was, he starts playing a 50s style guitar jam. That's basically jailhouse rock, with him going, come on, Woodstock, let's rock, because Wyclef Jean seems to have no idea when the first Woodstock took place. He seems to think it took place in the 50s. Either that or it's a tribute to Sha-Na-Na. We will never know. This set begs more questions than it could possibly ever answer. So, we're 18 minutes in at this point, where I'm telling you now, and it feels like you've been watching this for 18 hours. So look down. When you see the 18-minute mark, when you watch the video, say, yes, Rodney was right about the 18-hour thing. So he starts demanding that his guitar be louder, and then he sings a little song about weed. And it's not a bad song. And if his whole set had been like this little song about weed, I wouldn't be sitting here talking about it today. But oh no, things get worse. 22 minutes in, and we get, now remember, these are little gaps between things. We get in a freestyle rap, which is not good. And that's followed by a drum and bass solos. The drummer does a solo and the bass player does a solo. People, I'm a terrible bass player and I am a god-awful drummer. I think I might be able to do better than these folks are doing. And now comes a few bars of Another One Bites the Dust. Why? Some people have theorized that Wyclef Jean confused Live Aid and Woodstock. And it's quite possible. You'll see as we go on. So the fun thing about Another One Bites the Dust is he doesn't know the words to Another One Bites the Dust. He's just going like, yeah, another one bites it. Yeah, Woodstock, 99. All right, throw your hands in the air. Are you in the house? And at this point, I realized he probably doesn't know the lyrics to any song written. Like if you asked him to do Old MacDonald, he'd be like, yeah, Old MacDonald, Woodstock. Yeah, Big Mac, Old MacDonald. Oh, is Old MacDonald in the house? Yeah, yeah. So wave your farming implements in the air like you just don't care. Make some noise for Old MacDonald. I'm not joking. Watch this and you'll see I'm right. Anyway, so now he asks for people to throw water bottles at him. Now, there's a bit of revisionist history that says he asked people to throw the empty water bottles as a protest to the high cost of water. No, he just did it because a little bit before, Kid Rock had asked the audience to do the same thing, throw water bottles at him. People, it's never a wise decision to base anything that you do on something Kid Rock did. Just not a good career move at all. Okay, we're at the 26-minute mark, and it happens. This is the tipping point. He says, "This is for my man Jimi Hendrix," and he attempts to play Jimi Hendrix's version of the Star Spangled Banner, and he's trying to play it on a guitar that is brand new. In fact, I think it still has the Guitar Center sticker on it. And there's no whammy bar on it, which I'm sure makes it even more difficult. It's just bad. But just like Jimi Hendrix, he has a roadie standing by to help him set the guitar on fire. The roadie comes out and douses. Now, some of you, by the way, at this point, you're more rock and roll stabby type would go, Jimi Hendrix didn't do that at Woodstock. That was Monterey. It's all the same to Wyclef Jean. It's all. I'm expecting a tribute to the Partridge Family any minute. He does the when it's time to change thing. Anyway, so they try to set the guitar on fire. It does not burn. They should make children's sleepwear out of this guitar. Joe, you got to find out what model this guitar is and get one, because when it doesn't burn, and they really try to burn it, they put albums on it. They keep dousing it with lighter fluid, and it does not burn. Wyclef Jean picks it up and tries to smash it, and it won't smash. It's like some holy relic they got out of the basement of the Vatican. It's like, this is the Virgin Mary's guitar. It can't be destroyed. So finally, the DJ plays Jump Around by the House of Pain, and Wyclef Jean leaps out into the audience, which he doesn't even do that convincingly. And that should bring the show to an end right there. It would just be horrendous. You'd be sitting there like, but no, because other people have done something, Wyclef Jean must now do it. So earlier, James Brown had brought out this woman named Diana to sing with him. So Wyclef Jean now brings out Diana, who sang with James Brown. And he says, Diana's here to sing some Janis Joplin. Now, some people have said he's saying Janet Joplin. I hear Janice, so I'm gonna cut him the only break he's gonna get in this. And he says, are you brave enough to sing Janis Joplin? But are you people at home brave enough to hear what happens? The woman begins to sing it, and after a while, she just abruptly stops. And she goes, stop the fucking music. And she looks at the band and she goes, they don't know Janis Joplin. Yeah, they don't play it well. And that is the end of it. And Wyclef Jean would never embarrass himself again, unless, of course, you account that 2016 Reddit Ask Me Anything, when they began to ask him about the charity he was running and what was happening to the money. But that, my children, is another story for another time. So that is the tale of Wyclef Jean at Woodstock 99.
Now, is this the Woodstock that there was rioting and the whole thing caught on fire?
Yes, but compared to the Wyclef Jean
Even with the guitar.
yeah, at least say what you will, but at least somebody was able to set something on. If they had built the stages out of the same material that guitar was, there would never have been a fire at Woodstock. Everybody, raise a glass of wine for my man Jimi Hendrix. Who's next?
Oh,
I guess that's me. So the performance I decided to talk about happened in July 1989 on the Club MTV tour, which featured Was Not Was, Information Society, Paula Abdul, Tone Loc, and of course Downtown Julie Brown, but also Milli Vanilli. And it was during the Bristol, Connecticut stop that Milli Vanilli's hard drive failed.
Never heard of that before.
In a way that had them repeating a phrase. They had a huge hit. They had several huge hits, actually. But this one, the one they were singing was Girl, You Know It's True. And it ended up being Girl, You Know It's, Girl, You Know It's, Girl, You Know It's over and over again. And
because it wasn't true.
It wasn't true. No, they were lip syncing. Not only that, it later, well, I guess the lip sync didn't sync them immediately, but it led to the career's failure, as most, I guess, people looking back on the things would say. It got people joking about them. And also already, even before that, some people were suspicious, and there were people in the music industry who knew that they didn't even sing the songs. They weren't not only lip syncing at all their shows, and they were playing like arena shows and stuff. They had top five singles from the album. They didn't sing any of it. It was a guy in Germany put it together, Frank Farian, had United States singers Charles Shaw and Brett Howe sing on that song, Girl, You Know It's True. And then later, Charles, when it became a hit, and Charles heard it and didn't even know about it, that it was going to be released, I guess, especially not with other people's faces on the cover of the single, got upset, and he was replaced by John Davis for the rest of the album. The rest of the album was recorded without Milli Vanilli singing. The singers in Milli Vanilli were Fabrice Morvan, and Rob Pilatus.
Are you saying John Rhys Davies, who played Gimli in The Lord of the Rings, actually sang on that?
No, John Davis, not Davies. Somebody else, another American singer or rapper. But the European release, it listed the actual singers plus Milli Vanilli, but the United States release indicated that the singers were Rob and Fab, which later resulted in lawsuits when it became apparent that they weren't the singers. Like, were you ever at a concert for this band? You may be part of a class action suit if you want.
It's the Camp Lejeune of music. Did you or a loved one served with Milli and Vanilli at Camp Lejeune?
But yeah, the downfall was probably them. Lip sync failure led to the revelation, and they got fired by the producer. But by then, it was announced that they weren't the singer, and then they announced they had Rob and Fab had a press conference where they supposedly gave back the Grammy, but the Grammy was already taken from them anyway. So they actually won a Grammy for, I guess, best new artist or something, or best pop.
Yeah, I would have lip synced at the press conference. Yeah,
they were actually doing their job. Why did they get fired?
They should just move their.
They were
lips.
doing their job. They signed a contract, and but I think they were kind of tricked into thinking that they were going to actually sing on it, but they weren't, because they thought it was a demo they were hearing, but it was the actual song, the Girl You Know It's True song. But still, they did the world tours, and they got paid part of the royalties, but eventually they all lost it in lawyer fees. Well, with the lawsuits and what, but there's a documentary I found out that I haven't seen it yet, but it just came out. It's on Paramount Plus.
Well, this is the first I've heard of this.
It's
I
the
had
first you
no
heard of
idea.
Milli Vanilli.
And if you're as shocked as I am, I want to hear from you in the comments. I would have held a press conference, and I would have lipped press conference. I would have had somebody
They
else
had a
give me
bounce back. I guess you probably seen the behind the music, that they were the initial behind the music episode, and that was after after it was already known. And then in 2015, the producer started working with the real with Robin Fabrice to do a real another Milli Vanilli with them really sing, but it never came to be. And I guess Rob died of an overdose shortly in that time period. So that's mine.
Way to bring everybody down there.
I didn't mean to do that. Bring you down on that.
Now they're going to demonetize us.
Well, I chose the 2012 iHeartRadio performance of the band Green Day. And at the time I chose it, I was skeptical because I was like, I don't know if that actually did ruin their career. But when Rodney, you amended it.
I amended. Yeah,
you should have, because and I remember seeing the clip when it happened and being like, what an idiot, like what a little baby. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the band is playing, I think it's the song Basket Case, and in the middle of it, he just like stops playing, and there's so many expletives in his little rant. And he's talking about how because of Usher's set, their time has been cut short. And he's like, I've been around since 1988. And like, and then you find out later that he went like almost immediately into a rehab, apparently. And the band had an apology statement. And then I kept looking into this, and I saw that apparently he was asked about it later and said, that was the most punk rock thing of the last 10 years. And I thought, no, first of all, like, let's talk about the elephant in the room here. You're playing an iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
It's already not. And he just, I don't know, like I think it could have been done better. I think he could have done maybe some more damage to the stage. He does smash a guitar, and I think
you need to go big. You need to go big, Billie Joe.
You know who else was on the bill that night? Because somebody could have hit with a guitar. Not Usher, who seems to be an okay kind of person.
And he picks on Justin Bieber for some reason, who wasn't even involved in the festival. So, poor Bieber. But yeah, so we'll have a link to that clip if anybody wants it. I've never been a Green Day fan myself, so as far as it ruining their career, like, it only made me not like him more. So the bass player is good, though. I think it's good.
It's pretty good, yeah. Yeah, Dave Blood should have copyrighted his look, because that bass player has that look.
So I didn't pick a particular performance. I picked a performer that should be out of business. How about any show by Morrissey? I mean, he's notorious for canceling shows on a whim and just throwing a tantrum for whatever reason he feels like. Somebody on the catering team, likes bacon or something. I don't know. He'll just like throw a tantrum and cancel shows and just walk away from all kinds of obligations. And I don't even think he's that great of a singer. He's got like a nasally voice, and the melodies that he sings are just like only, I don't know, one or two or a half step above like some root note or whatever. It's just kind of weird if you listen to their songs, the way he sings. And kind of circling back to what Joe mentioned with lip syncing and stuff, I mean, I just can't deal with all the popularity of these manufactured pop stars who just, I mean, it's obviously that they're lip syncing, or they're entertainers. They're they can do some dance moves and they're performing, but they're lip syncing to backing tracks, and their fans want to see them jump around on stage. I don't think they're there for the actual musical performance. You know, I'm old. I just like to see bands that actually play their instruments and sing their songs on stage. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. The rise of the pop music. I mean, yeah, it's just the way it is these days. There's no answer for that, really.
Yeah, when I was like looking into stuff for this episode, I watched the clip of Ashley Simpson on the SNL.
Yeah.
And it's so painful to watch in so many ways. Like her response and this weird like dance that she does, it's just
tries to blame the band. Yeah, I don't have a problem with backing tracks or lip syncing.
Sure, but
it's that type of music. Yeah,
though?
I
like,
mean,
you think people should do that.
What?
You think it's okay for like someone as like a lead?
I've seen people who listen to pop punk come down on that, and I'm like, what you're listening to is no different. The thing is, I'm with Gary Newman. Gary Newman said, synthesizer, sampler, backing track, sequencer. At the end of the day, you like the fucking song, and for that stuff, it gives people their. The thing is, I've seen people complain about that, and I go, well, do you like the new Camland album? And they're like, and I'm like, that's part of the problem. People are complaining about that, but not listening to anything new and interesting. You can sit here and complain about, people lip syncing and all that. But if you're not making any investment in anything new and interesting, then you kind of lose a little bit of your right to complain. I'm not saying anybody here, but I'm just saying generally, I'll be out when people will be talking about like the worst hipster bands, the stuff that they play on alt rock radio. And then they'll say, oh, and then so-and-so lip sync and did that. And I'm like, you have no latitude there. That's my argument.
Well, I just think it's, I mean, if you like an artist, a pop artist, and you want to go see them play live and dance around on stage, that's fine. You can do whatever you want. It's just not for me. I mean, I prefer to hear a live performance, warts and all. Sometimes it goes wrong, it goes sideways, but I don't know. I find that more entertaining.
Maybe a disclosure that they are lip syncing.
Well, I don't know. Most people probably don't analyze music as much as we do.
Yeah. I can tell when somebody can't hit the notes
and they like the way it sounds, and they're fine with the entertainment. It's just not for me. So.
Yeah. Occasionally, some performers get older, and they're singing along, but when it comes to the high note, that is a triggered sample. Most of the audience are just paying to see that performer come out and do 90% of that song, and they want to see them before they die. And that is what we really need to cash in on. People, I'm 60 years old. You want to pay money and see us before I die. Trust me. I drink a lot, and I'm a historical reenactor. Yes, I am indeed Thaddeus Goodpickle.
Oh, yeah. Just to wrap it up, I mean, yeah. Morrissey is just like, I don't know why he still has a career. I mean, he's got some terrible political views, and he's just like he seems like a rotten human being. But anyway, let's move on.
I never understand why Latinos like him. He doesn't like them. Okay, so moving. Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't do more Saturday Night. Saturday Night Live gets called a launching pad for musical careers, but it's like a Soviet era launching pad. May go into the stratosphere, or he may be spread all over Siberia.
It worked for fear. What? It worked for fear.
It worked for fear. You said Ashley Simpson. Don't forget.
Red Hot Chili Peppers had a terrible one too.
Lana Del Rey bombed on Saturday Night Live. Yeah, Chili Peppers had a bad one, but they didn't go away. There was also Greta Van Fleet, another Pitchfork type band. The Pitchfork thing doesn't work well when the general public gets to look at it, I guess. But yeah, I would concur that I think Saturday Night Live's killed more musical careers than it has launched. Okay, so if we're done with that, we'll move on to recommendations. So first recommendation, somebody asked me last week in the comments if I would give them my Bandcamp thing. So it's Rodney Linderman. You'll see it up there right now. Just go type that in. You'll see Rodney Linderman fan, and then you can go look at all the music that I've downloaded and all that. And so, so please go through that and find something you like. If for those of you, I know they just sold Bandcamp again out to some company that puts music on Taco Bell, but it's kind of the best thing we have out there right now until somebody comes up with something better. Okay, so I went last Friday night, I went to the Century Bar. and I saw 3 bands, and I loved each of them. So I'm going to tell everybody about them right now. These bands are very different. In most cities, the bands, if you have a bill, the bands all have something in common. Philly has a great eclectic history of weird bands. So the first band I'm going to mention is a band called Crucial Device, and they are a synth punk band from Philadelphia. And they have an album out called Synth Punk Side of the Moon. That's a real thing. You can buy that. So we'll put their Bandcamp information up there, and probably hopefully a picture of them. They're really good. The next band I want to mention is called Scorpion Teeth, which is, of course, from the Butthole Surfers short film where Gibby goes, Scorpion Teeth? Where's my son? Where's Jerry Jr.? They're very psychedelic. And that heavy psychedelia, almost Butthole Surfers. And the weird thing is that the drummer, and it took me a while to realize this, is Edley O'Dowd from Psychic TV. So this is the guy who introduced Lady J to Genesis P.O.R.H. So I was like, holy shit, look who that is. And they also gave out these nifty prayer cards. This is a good thing for bands to have. Get prayer cards. Prayer cards are really cool. Scorpion Tea prayer cards. That's a good idea. So we'll put up their Bandcamp, and they have some videos out. And then the last band was Dracula's Miniskirt. And they're what we used to call new wave. But now you have to call it post-punk. But I say I do what I want. I'm calling it new wave. I like new wave. And they're really, it's just a good, solid band. It's really what it is. We'll put up some of their songs, and you'll like them all. So 3 very different bands. Out of that, you should find something you like.
Wasn't there a German guy named Heinrich or somebody there that night too?
I didn't see him. I never see the first band. I missed the first. I missed that. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. I'll see him sometime.
I'd like to recommend a documentary on YouTube on the Deep Dive channel. The Tragic World of Milli Vanilli is the title. And Jake from Deep Dive does a much better job at describing the Milli Vanilli story than I just did, and you can watch it. It's on the YouTube.
Cool. I would like to recommend if you are, within a reasonable distance from the Doylestown area and you want to learn an instrument,
A commercial?
Ask for Dan or Mr. Dan or Mr. Dandrew or even Mr. Daniel. Not Danny, because there's another teacher there named Danny. So you would get another teacher. But yeah, my Thursdays are open because we don't have practice Thursdays anymore. But just nothing Friday night, folks. So yeah, I would recommend looking into, we'll have a link for Nook Creative Music School. Trying to build my student repertoire.
I would like to recommend a YouTube channel from Chef Joshua Weissman. He's got a sort of rapid fire, jokey, sarcastic style. It's kind of like you either love him or you hate him. I just discovered him. He's only 27 years old. And he's been on YouTube, I think, since 2014. He has over 8.5 million subscribers now. And I just heard about him. I don't know where he was hiding under a rock or something. He's got a couple of cookbooks out. The first one, I think, was on the New York Times bestseller list for like 8 weeks or whatever that came out. He just has a new one out. I don't have either of these cookbooks, but he has different series on his channel. He has one called But Better, where he takes a fast food item and makes them better in his kitchen. So he'll go to Burger King and buy a Whopper and then bring it back to the kitchen, and he'll make his version of the Whopper, that kind of thing. Chicken nuggets from McDonald's, and he'll make his own chicken nuggets, that kind of stuff. Anyway, I'll recommend a video that he just released about a month ago called 100 Food Hacks I Learned in Restaurants, which was the first video I clicked on and watched, and I thought was pretty entertaining. And I actually picked up a few tips to use in my kitchen. So check out, it's the YouTube channel from Joshua Weissman.
And folks, I'd like to remind you, if you stop by our Patreon site this week and fill out a short survey, that means you should cut down on psychedelic mushrooms. We don't have a Patreon site. And even if we did, we don't care about your lives. We never will. We don't want you to fill out any sort of survey. That's not going to happen.
You should
So,
subscribe, though.
yeah.
Apparently, there's a lot of people who watch the show who don't even subscribe to the channel. I don't understand how that works, but anyway.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I tell you, like or subscribe has become the ass, grass, or gas nobody rides for free of our generation. I don't want you. This is just like a small thing. Okay, like nobody's even supposed to know about it. People ask me about it. I deny it even exists. I don't want people seeing this. Well, I see by the clock on the wall, it's time for you to check in with my parole officer. So I'm going to say good night, everybody.